This is
Make it plain.
Make it plain.
MIP
With Masamela Matfumo.
Mark Thompson.
Make it plain.
Get woke.
Nice buns, soft, fluffy, and ultra-low net carbs. Discover Hero Bread, the delicious ultra-low net carb bread with incredible taste and texture. Hero Bread has 0 grams of sugar and is under 100 calories per serving, plus high in fiber with 5 to 10 grams of protein per serving. Order from hero.co now and get 10% off your first purchase with promo code AH10. That's 10% off with code AH10. HERO.co.
Once again, time for our favorite weekly segment, Thursday Kos, with the founder of the largest online progressive community, Thursday Kos, the founder of Civics with a Q, the groundbreaking polling firm, and the ever-popular podcast, The Brief. Be sure to subscribe and download just as often as you do. Make it plain. Markos Moulitsas, how are you, buddy?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Just fine, man. So Tuesday night, did Joe Biden, had he overheard us maybe questioning whether he was going to be all right, whether he was going, have what it takes? I don't think we've ever seen anything quite like that before, a negotiation in the middle of the State of the Union.
I gotta say, I have never liked the State of the Union address. I find them to be tedious and perfunctory and a little bit full of BS and a little exhausting. And it's sort of like it's one of those things I do as my job because it's my job. I'm like, all right, like I'd rather do so many other things, but I guess I'll watch the State of the Union address. Tuesday night State of the Union address wasn't just the best State of the Union address I think I have ever seen. It was fun. Like, it was a frolicking good time. And I think there's presidents walk in and it was this sort of pomp, right? Or this seriousness, the gravity of the presidency. And so it comes across as a bit pompous. And Joe Biden on Tuesday, like, he was out there to have fun. He went out there. He had a lot to sell, so it helps when you have a lot of accomplishments. So he had a lot of accomplishments to sell, but he was actually having fun with the hecklers. I don't know if they gamed that out or if it was spur of the moment, but they must have known that the Marjorie Taylor Greens were going to be a-holes and that they were going to try to disrupt. And he made them look. I mean, how often does this make comedians? Good comedians can do it, right? They can take a heckler and they can come out looking better after the exchange. Most people can't. I can't pull it off, right? Like, it demeans me. I go down to their level. And so, but Joe Biden somehow pulled it off. And this is not a skill I think we've ever seen before. That spur of the moment, top of the, in with that kind of audience, with the gravity and seriousness of that speech, to be able to playfully toy with MAGA Republicans trying to disrupt them. It was a blast.
And I think too, I'll be honest, I wasn't that surprised. You're right, it was fun. I don't know if we'll know if it was the best because most State of Union speeches in history were probably never even televised. But it was fun. But one thing I will give Joe Biden credit for, he can be quick on his feet. I've seen him in those situations before, even when he comes off script. Now, sometimes a young person cannot depart from the printed word. Once you're into something, and it's hard to do that. I think it was literally, from what I could tell, it was literally organic. It was spur of the moment. I don't think they could have predicted. I mean, he put it out there, and the people saying he baited them. But I don't think even he could have known that they would have been dumb enough to react, and Marjorie. First of all, that should be, I don't know how many people are doing shows in the past 48 hours on whatever that was Marjorie Taylor Greene was wearing. That's all to me.
Puppies. Puppies.
Someone said it was a Russian coat. Someone else said it was debris from the balloon. So I don't think they could have predicted that. We've talked about this before. He Biden grew up where he grew up with, I mean, his peers were black. He grew up around black kids. He knows how to play the dozens. All right. And if you notice how he talks, he's very, hey, man, what's up, man? Hey, man, that's how he talk. If you notice him, y'all watch him coming down the aisle. Hey, man, what's up, man? How's it going, man? I mean, he's real cool like that. And that was his cadence last night. He said, you all want to cut Social Security and Medicare. He's like, oh, you don't? Well, I can show you. It's on the website. And they were like, oh, no. He said, oh, for real? Well, in that case, it's off the table. I mean, it was just very, I mean,
we unanimously agree, he said.
Unanimity. We have unanimity. So he's good on his feet like that, because that's kind of where he came, you know, people, remember when the press couldn't understand, he was talking about his boys growing up, Mouse and Corn Pop. And the press never heard me.
Right.
But I understood it, because I know Mouse. I didn't meet Corn Pop. I know those guys. And I was like, y'all, these are real people. And then when I called Mouse, I said, Mouse, you know the story you're talking about? He said, yeah, there was a Corn Pop came, and he and Corn Pop meant to be friends, but he was the white lifeguard at the black segregated swimming pool. That's what he did as a teenager.
So wait. You literally know Mouse?
I know Mouse. I can call him right now.
Okay.
I can call him on the phone. As a matter of fact, I thought I said this before.
That's so awesome.
When the NAACP had its convention in Philly, and during Obama's presidency, Obama couldn't make it as usual, so he sends Biden. And Philly ain't that far from Delaware. Biden, Markos, some Obama could never do. He's calling names of all the black people he knows on the front row who grew up with him. There's Mouse, and all these people had his nickname, and he knows all of these people.
Go ahead.
So. You know, back then the guys had the processed hair like James Brown and Nat King Cole. They come to the pool and they're playing the dozens. And Joe Biden, you know, which is a pretty clever one-liner for a white boy, he tells the guys, because they had to wear swimming caps because they had the processed hair. They put swimming cap on. And Biden tells Corn Pop, you look like Esther Williams with that swimming cap on. And Esther Williams, for those who don't know, you may not know who this is, Mark, but she was the famous MGM star in all the swimming movies. In fact, she inspired what is now synchronized swimming. So to call a black dude Esther Williams, and they wanted to kill him. And Mouse had to save his life. You know, people weren't shooting each other back then, but they got a tire and they were going to beat Joe Biden to death. But you know, they spared him. So knowing that about him, to me, it did not surprise me at all when they played that game. Oh no, that's not us. Which, first of all, let's talk about that. Are they crazy? Yes, they do. They have always wanted to privatize Social Security. What made them last night jump up and say they didn't want to do it? I'm sorry, Tuesday night jump up and say they didn't want to do it all of a sudden.
Oh, they had Mike Lee looking all shocked. They had Rick Scott, who literally had a plan to sunset Social Security last year. It was his Senate plan as head of the Republican Senate campaign committee, acting like, how dare they impugn our honor by claiming such a thing. Obviously, and they're talking about having to balance the budget. They're not going to touch defense. There's literally nothing else. Everything else that's not Social Security, Medicare, and defense is a fraction of the budget. So I don't know what he thinks they're going to be doing.
Yeah. That was utterly insane. And they play right into it, and it was masterful. And as you said, he had a lot to.
But he was also, here's the key though, he was laughing, like it was fun. He was playing with them. They were screaming. Marjorie Taylor Greene had like rabies. She had frothing at the mouth, and he's literally laughing at their theatrics. I mean, there came to that point where they even talked about when he made the quip about the football coach, his football coach, like, if you come at me, it's going to be with some popular policy. It'll be like you playing football your senior year. Like you're done, right? You're on and out. if you vote. Well, I forget what the context was, but even Kevin McCarthy laughed. I mean, even he couldn't help himself. I mean, he was so like the whole speech is in the background, looking all pouty mouth and like, oh, like this is so, like, this is beneath me, even he had to laugh at some of Biden's quips, and so that I thought was pretty freaking hilarious. And then just see poor Kevin McCarthy, like Joe Biden's like, America's great.
Senior year. That's what he said. Lots of luck in your senior year.
Yeah, luck in your. You had Biden say things like, America's best days are in front of us, and Democrats are cheering, and Kevin McCarthy's sitting all serious and sitting on his chair because apparently he's pro. He was pro price gouging. He was pro Putin. It was so funny him having because the crazy caucus won't let him show any sort of I'll clap to American greatness. At least we can clap to that. Couldn't even do that. So it was optically, I thought Republicans looked so incredibly petty and stupid and bad. And then, not that I watched Sarah Huckabee's rebuttal thing. I mean, I just saw some clips, but it was from every indication, it was just, she really brought the crazy. And so I actually even really thought that contrast between Biden and his sort of repeated calls towards bipartisanship and working together, but he did it, Mark, in a way that didn't annoy me. A lot of Democrats do it in a way that annoy me. He didn't do it. He did it in the sense of accomplishments. Like, we have come together. And to contrast that with the Republicans, where they are now, with the MAGA, and Sarah Sanders screaming about the woke mob and CRT and who knows what else she screamed about. But the contrast could not be huger, and it's meaningful because we know for a fact that it's not campaign season, so we haven't talked about them for a few months. But college-educated suburban white women, it's the swing group. It's the only swing group. College-educated suburban white men are starting to budge, but they're still fairly Republican. But we're seeing some movement there. So there's hope there. What they don't like is what MAGA is bringing. Attacks on choice, the conspiracy theories, their obsession on Hunter Biden's dick pictures. I mean, this is the stuff that does not have resonance with the only swing demographic. And they can't escape that bubble. And Sarah Huckabee was she's in that bubble. She couldn't get out. And some people made real good points that she talked about CRT without describing what that was. She talked about the woke mob without defining it. She wasn't speaking to the American people. She was speaking very specifically to the bubble, and which is weird because they already get spoken to, right? They all tune into Fox News. But if you're not a Fox News watcher, you had no idea what she was talking about. And I mean, good for us. Great. We don't. The less Republicans focus on trying to actually appeal to the broad American mainstream, the better. And so that's going to be a real interesting question as this Republican primary shakes out, and Trump and DeSantis and whoever else wants to play. If they're so locked into that bubble that will they be able to get out of it when the time comes, when somebody is finally the nominee?
Yeah, watching Sarah was very difficult for any number of reasons. It was not. It was bad. It was goodness. I don't quite.
They don't even have rising stars to feature anymore. They can have some retreads.
And then the thing on the dick pics, it's as if they believe that this can be a Clinton thing again.
Yeah, that's what they think.
But Clinton survived that, and has gone even past that. So it's really a stretch, and I don't. It's really a pretty stupid strategy. But again, though, do you think they meant? I don't think they meant last night to go in there and fall back on their pledge to undermine Social Security and Medicare. I don't think they meant. I think they just saw Joe Biden, and whatever he said, they were going to scream something the opposite.
Yeah,
I mean, I think I probably would have really after that. I would have baited him some more and said something else. They just in it because she was looking for a moment to get on camera anyway, and there weren't any moments.
No.
So when he called him out, That was an opportunity. I can get on the screen. I can be seen. You say she was they were rabies. I couldn't tell. You couldn't tell the rabies because of the coat, because the coat is fuzzy and white. The coat is fuzzy and white. The hair is white. So I wonder what suburban college educated women think about her, and Sarah Huckabee for that matter. I don't see them gravitating toward, because they're not in the mainstream of suburban college educated women anyway.
No, they're not trying to be either. So yeah, for sure. And just to be clear, I think that the strategy with the Hunter Biden dick pictures is less Bill Clinton, but more Hillary Clinton. But her emails. It's just to create the impression of wrongdoing without there actually being, because there's no wrongdoing. You know what, Mark? And if there is, great, then prosecute Hunter Biden. Nobody gives a frack. It's we're not them. But you know what else was I thought really important about Tuesday was that it should put an end to two main narratives. One is the idea that that the right wing pushes that Joe Biden is senile and slow, and he's a puppet, and it's weekend at Bernie's, and so you have that whole they're propping up this dead guy as president thing, and it's like this dead guy just fucking owned you all. So if Joe Biden's slow on his feet, then what's that say about you guys? So for one, and then the second one is talk about him not running for re-election. I mean, he's running for re-election, and he's obviously at an advanced age where something may happen. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and predict that he's not going to have, a stroke or a heart attack or something, God forbid. But assuming that he remains healthy, his mental faculties are all there. He's clearly engaged, and he's on top. He's on his A game. I mean, like Tuesday was his A game. I don't think I've ever seen him as sharp as that. You say you've seen him. I don't. We saw him do well in debates and things. He was sharp. Even his stuttering, he had a few moments at the beginning, but once he got warmed up, it didn't take long. I mean, it was pretty smooth sailing. And so he's not going anywhere. And so and I know a lot of liberals wish that he would, this or that, but he's not going anywhere. And really, honestly, he shouldn't, because the biggest advantage in a presidential election is incumbency. Incumbents do not lose. Donald Trump almost won re-election. I mean, we're talking 80,000 votes in 4 states he flipped, and he wins re-election, and he had an approval rating of 32%. There is no greater advantage in a presidential battle than incumbency, and we do not want to give that up. We do not want Ron DeSantis to have any advantage. So anybody thinking that Kamala Harris or or Governor Whitmer or Josh Shapiro, whoever, that they would be a stronger candidate than Biden, don't understand presidential politics, elections.
Yeah. No, I would agree. And that's where we are. But you're right. They don't have a bench either way. If DeSantis runs, well, he's going to run.
He's running.
Yeah, he's running. Trump's going to run. That's going to be crazy. And they'll just cannibalize themselves from where I sit.
We're seeing it in Florida where they're literally banning books. Did you see that they, was it Duval County banned an Hank Aaron, like a picture book on his, on how he came from, how he became Hank Aaron. That got banned. Yeah.
It's insane. And but I have to ask you. You always remind us how Florida breaks our hearts. Does that help us in Florida? Does that mobilize Florida for us, or does it matter? I mean, we'd like to have Florida in 2 years, but
Mark, I don't know what's going on, and we're not going to have Florida in 2 years. I don't know what's going on, but tens of millions of dollars, over $100 million was spent, and our people didn't turn out. And I just wonder if there's literal fraud going on. That literal theft of money, because I don't know how you spend that much money and not have a ground game. There was no ground game. It just didn't exist. Nobody bothered to run one, and money went into the states for that purpose, and it just wasn't. I I think Florida at this point, I'm almost like, why don't people in swing states, like, how about you all retirees in Pennsylvania and Michigan move to Florida? Like, everybody go down there. Well, you're a conservative old person, Florida. Like, let's just make that their vote sink and solidify the Midwest back in our column. That's not the future of right now, not the near future. The future is we need to keep building in Georgia. Georgia's precarious. We need to keep building in Arizona. Arizona's precarious. And then we need to hold the Midwest. So Wisconsin's always going to be terrifying. Michigan and Pennsylvania look better, but they're still battleground states. So we have a solid path to our 270, and we just have to, it ain't going to be Florida. If we win Florida, we just won, we won everything else at this point.
Hey. Speaking of the next cycle, what do you think about what's happening in your state? You got Katie Porter, you got Nancy Pelosi saying she's going to endorse Adam Schiff if Dianne Feinstein doesn't run. So,
well, she's definitely not running. I mean, they should honestly. She should be resigning. It's a travesty that she's still in the Senate. She's not there. She hasn't been there for a couple of years now. And so yeah, I don't know. I'll say this, that all these candidates are sending like 10 fundraising emails a day, and that's just not the way for me to have any love and affection for any of them, because the online fundraising stuff is they're breaking the system, and this is a whole nother conversation, but they're literally breaking our fundraising source of our greatest fundraising by being so unbelievably obnoxious about it. And
they're breaking it by oversaturating.
Yeah, oversaturating and not asking for people's consent and just spamming people. And you try to opt out and they don't care. They keep sending stuff. And so it's just spam. Just put everything in my spam folder. I mean, but they're spamming my phone. I mean, it's really freaking obnoxious. I love Schiff for what Schiff is. I'm a strong proponent of more gender and racial ethnic diversity in the Senate. So I think Porter is amazing and she'd be great. I know my own rep here, Barbara Lee, has made noise about wanting to run. I'm not particularly crazy about that. I think the Senate sort of constrains you in a way that the House doesn't, and she has more freedom in the House to do what she does. So I don't know. It's. I mean, that's a good thing about California, though, is that Schiff would be great senator, Porter would be great senator. I think even Barbara Lee would be a great senator. Like we got an embarrassment of riches here. I mean, this is Democratic, good Democrat central, and so I'm not going to predict. I'm definitely not going to engage in a primary. I can't even see myself making that decision last minute. But and there's even a very good chance because California has a top two system, so it's not even partisan primaries. We may even have the Republicans are such a mess here that we may actually have a general election that is Schiff Porter. That's two Democrats in the general election.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that shaking out that way. So, folks, good State of the Union again, an historic one that is more memorable than I think any we've seen, probably since Obama's when they called him a liar, and he just stopped. He didn't really react. He didn't engage, but Biden decided to engage and do some back and forth. It was almost like what happens in the House of Commons every Thursday.
Now those guys know how to do back and forth. I wouldn't hate it if our Senate started looking more like that. To be honest, they seem to have a frolicking good time.
Oh no, it's enjoyable to watch. As a matter of fact, I remember Margaret Thatcher's last prime minister's question time. They were wearing her out, and she stood up. She said, "I love this." She just, ooh, I love it. I mean, they were going back. I never will forget. That's all. Y'all live for this. This is how you all, despite all the British reputation of being, courteous and always. No. When they go in behind those doors, they don't play. But it was almost like that, and something else quite exciting, folks. The Brief is the podcast. DailyKos.com, of course. Become a part of the community. Many of you already are, but continue to do so and read some of the stories that are going on there and check out anything exciting. So you were working on something at Civics. I don't know if it's ready yet.
It's ready. Well, we can talk about it next week.
Good.
There's a lot of good stuff. Yeah, I'll send it to you, and then we can be ready to talk about it next week.
Wonderful. Thanks, Markos.
Yep. Thanks.
Thanks for getting woke and listening to Make It Plain. As always, perform an act of kindness on behalf of an elder or young person. Write a letter to a sister or brother who just so happens to find her or himself incarcerated. Offer libations to the ancestors upon whose sturdy shoulders we all now stand. And above all, give thanks to the God of your understanding by whatever name you call her and him. All God asks of us is that we give each other love. Thanks for giving MIP love. And please remember to subscribe and give us a 5-star rating. If all hearts and minds are clear, it has been made plain.